Tired of never hearing a dad's point of view? Where are our fathers out there? And what about a dad's perspective in parenting? Welcome, impactful parents. Today, you get to meet my new occasional co host, Rodrigo Bravo. Rodrigo is a co parenting mediator out of the state of Texas. He is a parenting coach. And most importantly, he is a dad of two boys. And Rodrigo brings a dad's perspective onto the impactful parent stage to give you even more just variety and expertise and an added perspective on parenting topics. So I'm really excited to introduce him to you today. Thank you for being here, Rodrigo. Hello, my name is Christina Campos. I'm founder of The Impactful Parent, and I help parents of school-age children turn their chaos into connection with their adolescent. I am a mom of four kids, a teacher that has taught every grade from preschool through high school. And today I help moms and dads like yourself to navigate that exhausting, confusing, frustrating, but rewarding world of parenting. So welcome to The Impactful Parent.
Thank you, Christina, for having me here on your platform. Super excited. I know that we've partnered before on several platforms and had a really good conversations, people engaging with us and so forth. And so I'm excited to begin this new journey. That way we can continue helping parents out there, with these situations that come across and how to become better parents in our abuelitas.
We met on an app called Clubhouse. And if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it was great. It was a great app. They changed it since then, but it was still a good app, I guess. But I remember when I first met you, and I don't know if you remember when the first time you ever saw me was, or virtual met me on Clubhouse, but I was really taking a huge leap of faith and wanted to run my own Clubhouse room. And that was way out of my comfort zone at the time, super out of my comfort zone. And I did not know where I was going to open up this room in Clubhouse is what they call it. And I found an amazing community called the Amigos. And I asked the leader of Amigos, Denai, if I could run a room. And she let me, of course. And it was just nerve-wracking. I was so scared that day. I was terrified. I wasn't sure if I could talk for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just off the fly to an audience. And you were in that audience that day. Do you remember?
I do remember, yeah. And you did a really good job. I mean, you're telling me that you're nervous and, I don't know, anxious maybe or whatnot, but I couldn't tell at all.
Well, I was super scared. But what was great that day is that almost immediately after, listening to me for a little while, just ramble off for the first 15 minutes, you came up on stage, which is basically in this particular app platform, just means that you can come up and start talking with me and interacting with me. And it was such a sigh of relief to not have to be the only one on stage. Like, that's scary when everybody's eyes on you. I do so much better when I can talk with someone and we're collaborating. And I mean, that's the whole point of the whole impactful parent anyway, was collaboration. It's why I wanted to build it. I never wanted to be alone. So you bring so much insight, and the things that come out of your mouth not only are hilarious, but they are so freaking insightful. And I cannot wait for my audience to get more of you and that dad's perspective that I've always wanted on the impactful parent stage. So I'm just super excited to have you here.
Well, that's very kind of you, Christina, to share that and to express that. I remember that first time we got on there, and we afterwards, I was like, yeah, hey, this is great. This is right up my alley because I too believe in the spirit of collaboration over competition. A lot of people feel that when you have two people that focus on parenting, right? You and I, some people may look at us as competitors. I tend to think that we're really collaborators. I think when we collaborate, we both can grow. There's room for everybody to really become more, right? Whether it's business related, connection related, network related, etc. But we had the longest running room in Amigos history. Besides the daily room, right? The daily networking room. But the room we had was, I mean, we outlasted everybody. We were warriors. And the only time we stopped was for your vacation, right? I think it
Yep.
was. Yeah. Which means you need a vacation a little bit more often because, because
Yes,
but
yes.
yeah, we did that, and I think it was just testament to not only I would say our commitment to helping parents, but also to people wanting that, and there's a need for that, and people wanting to share their stories, wanting to get help and to see what's out there, because a lot of times, parents do feel that they're on their own. And so again, really happy to make that transition from that platform to this platform and talk about, everything in between when it comes to parenting.
And what I love about that is it's going to be your perspective, my perspective of these different topics that we'll be talking about, and we welcome other people's perspectives in the comments and things. And it's so great to talk things out. As I learned so much from you, and I'm sure it's reciprocal. And you can't help but feel the awesome synergy, and like it's exciting to me because it elevates parenting, and I get better and you get better. And then everybody learns from us. It's great. And I just can't wait for this season. Tell me a little bit about your expertise in mediating. So, you are a co parent mediator. What does that mean for the audience who has never heard of that before?
So basically, the way I started my trajectory, if you will, was in mediation. I am a certified mediator in the state of Texas. Certification means that I've taken courses, that I've taken modules, that I know certain aspects of the law, and that I take refresher courses throughout the years. I'm also updating myself as new things come across, and so forth. So that's what a certified mediator in the state of Texas is. And let me go a little bit further. In fact, I had a corporate life before. I was in public transportation, in construction, and also in broadcasting, which I still do as kind of my volunteer, my activism work with a nonprofit called Nuestra Palabra. And so I've done a lot of things, but I always had a passion for helping other folks, and that stemmed from my own issues. As you know, I have two boys. Both of my boys have different moms. My boys, Samuel, my youngest, his mom Maribel. I always elevate her name because she really allowed me to be the dad that I wanted to be, and I'm a good dad. I'm a great, phenomenal father. I love being a dad. I love my boys, and even through everything that I put her through, she had every right to kind of be that quote unquote messy parent or that messy co-parent. But she didn't. She really said, "Hey, it's on you. If you're gonna make this work, you're gonna make this work." And honestly, she put the onus on me and said, "Samuel's gonna realize if you're a good dad or not. I don't need to tell him." And I think that's wonderful. And I think I would hope people would allow their kids to find out on their own, just like Maribel allowed my son to find out on his own. If, hey, is dad really a good dad? Is he up to snuff? I don't need mom to tell me. I can find out on my own. We had a great co-parenting relationship. With Rodrigo, my oldest son, his mom and I, we didn't have a great relationship. We both got married young, we got divorced young, and we separated young. And there was still a lot of growth there that needed to occur, especially on my part. I mean, this is not a one-way street that it was all her fault or anything like that. We both were just young, and we didn't know what we didn't know. And so there was some trials, some tribulations there. I ended up going through my own mental health journey, my mental wellness journey, and I really owe a lot to that. I really owe a lot to therapy. Honestly, it started off as couples therapy, and then it started turning into individual therapy. And through that, I ended up realizing what was holding me behind to be a better partner, to be a better co-parent, and really just to be a better person. And so through all that, I also attended mediation sessions in my own dealings with the attorney general here in the state of Texas, with both of my boys' moms, dealing all that. And I noticed that there was such a complete lack of education, of support, and really understanding for parents that were in the same situation that I was. The only good thing about me was that I had resources. I had a privilege there. I kind of knew my way around things. I knew people. I had resources. There's a lot of people that don't. A lot of people that don't know how to navigate these tricky waters, if you will. of not only the judicial system and child custody, but also just of, of life, And so bringing it back over here, when I decided to become a mediator, my focus was going to be something child oriented. And again, the power of Clubhouse at that time, I really have to lift up somebody else's name that was instrumental in that, and that was Miss Deidre Jones. She had a room. There was a single moms club there on Clubhouse. She heard me speak, and this was before I even started my whole mediation practice. In fact, I was just talking about it at that point. I hadn't even filed my LLC, and to be honest, I hadn't even taken the courses yet to be a mediator. And she heard me speaking about my life experience in another room, and she reached out to me and she says, "Oh my God, I got this club. It's called the Single Moms Room. I would love it if you come to the room and just offer that dad perspective. Same thing that you're doing right now, Christina, right?" And I was kind of like, okay, why not? So I mean, I like to talk, so sure, why not, right? I like to help people, and I like Clubhouse, So I was like, okay, let's do this. And the first time that I went in there, it was a big room, and I provided perspective, and it was a big hit. It was great. Deidre said, "Oh my God, let's do this a weekly thing. Let's do this every Wednesday, and so forth, and etc." And I said, "Sure," And so I got on there the next Wednesday, and there was a lady there. I'll never forget. Her name is Precious. She got on there and she asked her question, and I gave her some perspective and based on my experience and this and that. And she said, "Man, boy, I should hire you. I really need your help, and I should hire you. Well, how much you charge?" And this whole time, again, a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? Especially for a lot of us, folks that have come from marginalized communities. I identify as Chicano. I still feel like, this is my experience, but I'm not here to charge people. I'm not here this and that. Well, Deidre totally had a different mindset. She's like, "You need to set something up because you got something here that really is going to blow up that you should really kind of tap into." And so with her help and guidance, I was like, okay. And so I finally made the jump and I said, okay, let me register my LLC. Let me do this. Let me register for my courses. And believe it or not, I actually had a couple clients before I was even certified. Now I made it very clear, right? I said, "Hey, look, I haven't gone through the whole thing, so I'm just talking basically out of experience and so forth." They didn't care. The ladies were like, "Yo, I really just need some help. I need some perspective. Help me get off this ledge because this is just not working. What's going on right now?" And so, full circle now to today. Here we are talking about really the same issue still, right? Where folks are dealing with these co-parenting issues that come across. And a lot of times we focus not on the most important thing, which is our kids. We focus on other things, our personal issues, our grudges, things that maybe aren't as important as what's most important. And so that's what I do. That's how it started. And that's where I really owe kind of the genesis of my practice. I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy that it came about organically and that I was able to help others. And then through the platform, I met you and we were able to collaborate and we were able to help others and really kind of, start a foundation for making sure that people understood, hey, you're not out there alone. You're not there doing this by yourself. There's other people that are here that have been through it. I remember one of my favorite series was when you and I spoke about our own parenting journey. And we talked about how people may see us like, oh, they're the experts and this and that. But we had to grow into our phases as well. I think you remember that, right, Christina?
Oh, yes, I do. That's again out of my comfort zone. So I remember all those things because to talk personally about my stuff it outside my comfort zone. And it's another reason I want you here is that you bring that out of me. Because I won't bring it out of myself. And I don't really have anything to hide. I just feel like it's hard for me to talk about myself sometimes. And it was a great, great episode. We got to learn a lot about each other and really show everybody that we've been there. Like we weren't born experts or anything like that. Like, no, we had a fail. That's how coaches evolve. It's through our own experiences also. And so it was great for people, I think, to see that side of us that we're people. We're not psychologists that have read all the books, and that's has its place. And honestly, it's important to some people, but this is a different kind of help. We're much more personal, I guess, if in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think one matter that I really wanted to touch on was that whole thing about you and I, or you saying, "Hey, I didn't really, I'm not comfortable talking about myself." Right? I was in the same boat. I got to be honest. If anything, at various points of my life, I was pretty ashamed. I was really embarrassed. I would hide. I would lie about things. My boys, for example, they have two moms. I felt like I was contributing to a stigma, that I was just a statistic. Oh, here's this Latino guy. Well, not even guy or man, but boy, right? There's this Latino boy, and look at him. He's having moms left and right, and having kids left and right, and the two failed relationships, and oh my God, just a cluster, and I was really embarrassed by that. I got to admit, I wasn't as open about as things as I am now. And really what it took was me just owning it. Really, and again, I'm talking about my experience. It really took me to say, like, you know what, that's me. That's my story. And it is what it is. And I'm making the best of it though. I'm not here just wallowing or having a pity party. But it did take me a while to get there. And again, I owe it all to my mental therapy, my mental counseling. Shout outs to Dr. Kay Howard in Houston. She was really the one that we started off. A partner of mine back then, she and I, we went to couples counseling. It went well, this and that. Then I went into my own individual counseling, and it was really there where I really learned to say, hey, you know what, I own this. Yeah, and not to be embarrassed about it. And she told me straight up, she goes, you need to start talking about it. Maybe when you introduce yourself, maybe that's like one of the first few things you're gonna say. And I'm like, what? Like, like who goes around talking about their failures right up the right from the beginning? Hey, my name is Rodrigo Bravo. I have two kids and two moms. It's like, nobody, right? Nobody wants to do that, right? But I had to own it. I was really embarrassed about my what I had done, but I'm not embarrassed about my boys. I love my boys. My boys are amazing. They're out there doing what they want to do, living out their dreams. I love that for them. And so, if I'm going to own them, I got to own everything about them, and that means owning that story as well. And so, I just want to put that out there for folks that when Christina and I are speaking about our stories, it is tough. It's not, I'm a talker, yeah, but that doesn't mean I want to talk about everything. Nowadays, yeah, I can talk about pretty much anything. It doesn't really matter. But it took, time to get there. And I don't think people should be embarrassed if they're still on their journey as well. If they're still kind of getting there, maybe not all the way there. Don't let that prohibit you from getting the help that you need, especially when it comes to parenting. Because a lot of times, and Christina, you know this, I know this, as parents ourselves, sometimes our worst enemy is ourselves, right? Because we feel we beat ourselves down because we don't know the answers, or we did something wrong, even though we didn't know what to do. So I think that's really critical that we understand that and we take that into account, and that we do get the help that we really need.
Along those same lines, I think there'll be several people who will be listening to this and nodding their head and saying, yeah, I mean, maybe, am I a good person to, get help, or do I really even need help? No, the problems I have are silly. And I just want to debunk that and say, Rodrigo, what kind of main issues do you see all the time when people come to you and say, can you help me with this? Let's give people examples of what people come to us with.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks too many times feel that their problems are minor. I'm not here to judge the magnitude of your problem. Your problem is your problem, and if it's a big problem to you, then it's a big problem. We can definitely perceive when certain issues are bigger than others, but that doesn't mean that one person's experience is bigger than another person's experience. It's just different. And to that person, that item, that issue in your life might be a smaller issue, right? But in their life, it's the biggest issue. So I always tell parents, I go, hey, whatever issue you have, it's important. If it's affecting the relationship that you have with your child, let's work on it. Let's help each other out. I had one client who was kind of like, I don't know, should I do this and that? And I said, well, what's the issue? Wow, my children's father is not really coming around and this and that. And I go, okay, well, you don't see that as a problem. She goes, well, you know what? That it doesn't matter to me. I said, okay, that's fine. But the perspective is, how does it affect your kids? Does it matter to your kids? And she said, yeah, yeah. I said, okay, well then, that's an issue then. Now look, we can't force people to be something that they're not, but we can definitely give them the opportunity. And if you're gonna let somebody fail, in this case, that particular father, give him the best opportunity not to fail. And I know that that's pretty hard. A lot of times, we're like, screw him, or F him, and blah blah blah. I get that. I trust me, I've been there, right? I long time ago, I was definitely kind of along those rails, right? But we're being short sighted. We're leaving our kids out of the equation. Now, if we provide every opportunity for that person and they still fail, I promise you, your kids are going to see that. Actions speak very loud, and your kids, you could tell them, I love you. You could say this, you can do that. But if you're not around, they're going to notice that and they're going to remember that. And that's where, quality time comes in. That's where, the amount of quality time comes in. And so for her, for example, it may not seem like a big issue to her, but once, we kind of changed that perspective around, she understood why it was important that she did do something about it. Fortunately, the guy came around. I spoke to him. We started, doing some sessions, and he came around and he realized that he wasn't really doing his part. And he said, you know what, let me adjust a few things, do this, do that. And they're no longer my clients. And I love that. I don't want to have 5-year clients. I'm not I'm not here to, like, let's have endless sessions. There's no. The whole point is to develop to a point where we have good communication, to a point where we both understand what we need and what we want, and then develop a game plan. And then once we have all that down and we start repeating those cycles and doing good work on that, then you won't need me. You really won't need me. And so hopefully that's what happens. And the quicker we can get to there, the better. Obviously, with good input and making sure that these changes are sustainable and realistic. And so, but that's the whole end game, right? And so I think that the talk that kind of speaks to what you were talking about, how folks may think an issue is not that big, when in fact it is. The last point I'll make is that there are issues that are very big. One issue, for example, it's come up maybe a couple times now, but it was very big for me, was when my son came out to me. That was a huge deal in my life for him. I kind of already knew, but I didn't want to mess that up. I wasn't going to put my perspective. I knew that my son, it was super important for him. And so that's how I treated it. Obviously, there's different levels to everything, but no issue is small. No issue is, tiny. If you have an issue and it's important to you, I promise, Christine and I, it's important to us as well. And we're more than happy to help you the best way that we can.
And I think one of the misconceptions that a lot of parents have is that it's like therapy, and that, yeah, it might last forever, or because I do have clients that will just come to me for one session or two sessions. They have a really specific thing that they want to get help with. And because they've already done the foresight of really narrowing down this, like, maybe one particular behavior that their child is having. So then I'm able to really hone in and also give them these, like, hey, try this, try this, try this. And maybe that's it. That there's not a long-term commitment to it necessarily. Or it could be parents think that they can't mold it to look like what they need, and you certainly can. I want to get into your boys because people are going to be learning a lot about them as our series continues. And so you have two amazing boys. They're both out of the house now, but tell us a little, just briefly, about each one, what makes each kid unique, because every kid is different, and maybe just a lesson that you learned from that one kid.
Well, I'll start off with Rodrigo. Rodrigo, he's 22 now. Yeah, he's 22. He lives here in Houston. I'm currently in Houston right now. He's a student at University of Houston downtown. He's living his own life. He's got his little apartment doing his thing. I mentioned earlier, my son, he is gay. He also does drag, and he's doing great with that. I'm super proud of him. I know that when I was young, I had certain dreams that I kind of wanted to try out and do and so forth. But my parents, my dad wasn't particularly supportive of that trajectory. I ended up doing other things, and then I ended up having a family, and then having to work and so forth. Right. So my little window of opportunity to go out there and just pursue dreams, if you will, it kind of vanished. I made sure that when my boys got older that I was going to support that, and so my son, that's his dream right now. And so he just got a promotion at the restaurant that he works at. So he's an assistant manager. He's happy about that. It's funding his dream. And I've told him, I said, take a few years, man. Just have fun with it. You never know what happens. If something comes out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you won't have this whole what if. You won't think about like, well, what if I did do this or this and that. At least like, hey, I gave it a shot and I had a good time doing it. And and so forth. So he's doing his thing, and I'm super proud of him, super happy for him. And one thing that I learned from him was patience. There was a time when he and I weren't talking, and very briefly, it was look, just being honest, it was nothing that I did. He just was improperly influenced at the time. But I kept going. I was talking earlier about actions. I kept going. I kept seeing him, and I'll probably share the long version of this story later on in one of our future episodes. But eventually he saw that, hey, you know what? That's sticking around. This isn't the way it was supposed to go. I thought he was going to take off, and just forget about me, but no, he's sticking around, and he realized like, hey, I'm in it for the long haul, and now we have a fantastic relationship, and we talk all the time, and right now he doesn't really talk to his mom that much, and I keep telling him, I was like, hey, remember you made a mistake with me, right? Maybe there's a mistake there too happening, and so that's a whole nother story we can get into, but that's really what I learned was patience. I had to learn to be patient with him because I knew that he wasn't doing things out of his own volition at that point, and I just had to kind of grind it out and live through that. And it sucked. It completely sucked. I fucking hated it. I'm not gonna lie. Excuse my cuss word, but I really hated it. But I had to do what I had to do. And now looking back at it, I almost feel like I had to go through that, not only to make our relationship stronger, but even to give me that perspective and allow and help others now on my co-parenting consultation, if you will. And so then Samuel's my youngest, and Samuel, like I mentioned before, I've always been able to have a great relationship with him. His mom and I, we had a very short relationship, and she confided in me long time later on, right? A few years back, she told me, she goes, I didn't think you were going to be around. I thought, we met up, you had your other son, you're more worried about that. I thought you were going to take off, and so I did stick around, and Samuel and I, we have a great relationship. Samuel actually moved to San Antonio to live with me, and so he actually lives with me. He graduated in high school a couple years back. He's in school now, and he has a little part-time job right now. He's having fun. I leave. I'm traveling quite a bit right now, both for work and for some other stuff that I'm doing. And so he's got the apartment to himself. He has a little girlfriend. I'm still parenting. it's it's wild, Christina. It's wild. I'm over here in my second phase of parenting, and I didn't realize I was going to be parenting a 19-year-old going on 20 sometimes. So it's been a journey. But what I learned from him is really trusting my son. Like I mentioned earlier, I travel a lot right now. I was in Chicago earlier this week. I'll be going back. I'm sorry. I was in Chicago. I'll be in LA and then also got to go to Cincinnati, all kinds of places, right? And my son is by himself with his girlfriend in the apartment doing things, I'm sure. And so I have to trust him though. And I've shared some stories about Samuel and I, and I'm sure I'll share them again, on their platform. But I have to trust him that he's going to make the right decision. I can't be a helicopter parent. I can't just be over there. If I tell him no, you can't have your girlfriend over. He's still going to have his girlfriend over. I know it.
Yep.
What am I going to do? Get mad at him and then ground him. I mean, yeah, I can kick him out and do this. But I'd rather just be honest about it and just tell him like, hey, be smart. And when we've done our house cleaning stuff and do this and that, I've noticed that he has condoms in his room. Cool. I'd rather see that than something happening that maybe he'd have to big life change that quite frankly he's not prepared for yet.
Yeah.
And so I want him to be safe. I want him to be protective. I want him to really understand that, hey, right now is kind of like a, go to school, have fun, pursue some dreams, whatever. But I started off young, and I want them to realize like, hey, you can start young if you want, but you got to really cut a lot of things out as a young parent. And one of those things is your dreams. It's super hard, super, super hard. You can still do it. You hear people do it, right? Oh, I had kids and all this and that. But it is super hard. And my life is a great example to them. And I think they're using that as kind of a template. They're like, you know what? Yeah, we love dad, and I'm glad dad had us, but we don't want your kids young. We don't want any kids right now. And so we're going to hold off on all that stuff until, we get further down the line. But those are my two boys in a quick nutshell. They're great boys. I'm very proud of them. I love them. And yes, you'll probably be hearing a lot about them because, hey, I'm a parent too, and I've made my mistakes, and some of my biggest lessons have been through those conversations with my boys. One final note, I'm really proud of the level of communication that we have. And I think that's one of the things that I try to instill in my clients, that the best thing you could do is have a good, solid bedrock of communication. And it starts with trust. It starts with, before you even communicate with them, there's got to be trust there. They got to feel secure enough to even have these conversations. So there's layers to all this. I know we've talked about it, Christina, and I'm kind of excited to talk about that as well in future episodes because it is super important, and it's something that just goes beyond co-parenting. It goes into parenting, into relationships with our kids, and just having a great life and being a good person. Like, let's set up good bedrocks, good foundations for solid communication so that when our kids need to talk, hopefully we're the first ones that they talk to.
Yes, hopefully they are. That's our goal. That's our goal. Thank you, Rodrigo, again. And I really look forward to our future episodes. So tune in, everybody. Now, time for some announcements. Question and answer Thursday is back. I'm super excited about this because this is your opportunity to write in a question to the show, and I might answer it live here on The Impactful Parent. Of course, all submissions are kept anonymous. So if you have a parenting question about your school-age child that you would like to submit, go to theimpactfulparent@gmail.com, or you can message me on social media. Don't be shy. You can always ask for a friend. And don't forget about the Impactful Parent Workshop this week. This is a 100% attend from home virtual event. You can choose to join us either Sunday evenings or Wednesdays during lunch. Our discussion topic changes every week, and this week we're going to be talking about how to talk to our teenagers about sex, drugs, and peer pressure. Either join us passively where you can sit quietly behind your computer and just take in all the information, or this is also an opportunity to ask me questions. Either way, you're going to get a lot of information and learn about how to talk to your teenager about sex, drugs, and peer pressure. So register with the link below. Thank you for joining me today. Remember that this episode is just a small part of what the Impactful Parent offers. Also available are online courses, parent support groups, coaching services, and the Impactful Parent app. Find out more by going to theimpactfulparent.com. If you would like to reach out for Rodrigo Bravo's services and his co-parenting mediation and coaching, you can email him at rodrigobravo.jr@gmail.com. And become a more impactful parent and download the Impactful Parent app. The Impactful Parent app is free, and you can carry help, tips, and parenting resources right in your pocket. Discover new techniques to make your parenting more effective and get parenting resources that will make your life easier. Download the app today because you have nothing to lose. So go to theimpactfulparent.com or your phone's app store and discover how you can step up your parenting game and become a more impactful parent. But until next time, you got this. I'm just here to help.